Hello, I'm Neale Howells. Yeah, I will be doing the interview like this. So just in case, let's see. Right, okay. I can see you all laughing. Okay, laughing. Wait. Um, right, hang on then. Yeah, just having a little look at the camera, right? Don't worry about a thing, because everything is gonna be alright. Just want to make sure, because sometimes the camera don't work, does it? When you're right up the creek end. Right, my name's Neale Howells. That I occasionally wear in the studio. Right, so look, thank you for all these questions. Yeah, really difficult, a lot of them are. Got me thinking. And I hate thinking, right? So, I think thinking is bad for your health. So I'll try and, what I'll do, and I'll read a few, I'll do half, I'll have a break, right? And then I'll come back and do the other half and then have a video. That's alright. Oh, right then. Okay. Here we go. Who or what inspired you to be an artist? Right, okay. Well, funny thing is, I fell into art. So I'd been working for 4 years, and then I went back to college. We was told that no, you can't do any of these subjects, and then one subject that was offered to me was art, and so that was it really. It was simple, wasn't it? I mean, I fell into it. It was not planned, and I've been doing it ever since. And that was like when I was back in 1985. So, what do you like about art? I suppose what I like about art is when I went back and done college, I raised the question with myself when I compared how an artist got from a figurative drawing to something which was quite expressionistic. So that intrigued me. And the artist I'm thinking of is Henry Moore, this British sculptor. And I was just curious how he got from what you consider is an illustrative person, human, and he got from that to his more conceptual pieces, which are circles and carved out and weathered looking materials. Anyway, that intrigued me, and I suppose that got me into art. So I've been trying to answer that question ever since. How did you get from A to B? What age did you start painting? Well, I mean, like I just said, I went back in 1985, so I was a young 20-year-old then, to do A-level art. That's why I realised this was where everybody went after school. Nobody told me. But I went, so I worked for a while, went back to art. But you can always think of, I mean, everybody loves drawing and painting when they were a kid, and I can remember people used to come into my mother's father's house and go, "Oh, look at that drawing he's done! Isn't it brilliant, Shirley?" Yeah, it's all right. It's not. No. So I always used to get told by strangers, "Oh, that he's going to be an architect or something." I'm glad I proved them wrong. Although I do a bit of architecture, but I'll never get there. Done a birdhouse once. Right. Where do you usually do your art? Well, here we are. This is my studio. I've moved around over the years from disused factories to outdoors, environmental, to where I am now. And what I like to say about this place is quite secure. It's 99% dry, and that's about as good as you can get, I think, as an artist. You want somewhere secure and dry, so the work is there when you go back. Many times when I was working in factories, I go back and the work could be pulled around by kids, people like you lot. But that in mind, I used to, in something used to intrigue me then, how people interacted with the artwork and that. So you just make, yeah, you can see things in everything basically, can't you? Right. Where do you get your ideas from before you start a painting? Funny thing is, paintings usually lead on to other paintings, which lead on to other paintings, and it's just one continually sort of a leap. You're leapfrogging from one idea to the other. Something you picked up in one idea, in one painting, will lead on to another painting as you're painting it. But you usually got about 6 or 7 pieces on the go anyway. And what I would say to that question is that I like to sometimes work outside art painting. So I'll try and get some inspiration from doing different things. Like I was doing animation not so long ago, and more recently fashion. So collaboration like that, and animation and anything else you do outside can always feed back into your artwork, which is, this is what, you know, because what, by working outdoors, it sort of just gives you a new inspiration towards your own work. Okay. What different, plus where do you get your ideas from? Yeah, so okay. I was just going to refer you back to question 1. What different materials do you use when you design your art? Well, basically I start with wood, but wood has been plentiful around this area. You know, it's one of the materials that's been thrown out, so you always take up. You can always find your materials in skips and stuff, and that's another thing. I've always tried to recycle as much as I can, as well as ideas. I mean, I'm pointing at stereo speakers, so you know, they were found in a skip. Actually, that stereo with the TV. You can find a picture of it later on. I'm not moving the camera. Well, let me show you that. Oh God, there we are. Get myself a new ringer. Stay by. That belonged to a artist, a female artist in Wales. She didn't know I got it out of a skip. Along with all the other paintings she was throwing out in Cardiff. I won't say who she is. Yeah, so you know, that's the type of materials I use. But it's mostly hardboard, but whatever I can find is pretty good as well. What feelings do you express when you paint? Well, you know, I think it's probably mostly anger, really. I mean, I'm a very angry artist, and over the years, you know, you always put a hammer through a piece of work, or break it up, or even set fire to it. And I always used to think that maybe, you know, I was angry because of the government. And I was, but I always thought maybe you can't make art if you weren't angry. Then of course we had Tony Blair and Labour government, and everything was rosy then, and I still made art, so what do I know? But I mean, it's not so much anger these days. I sort of enjoy my art a lot more in a way. So yeah, I'm definitely not that angry anymore. Maybe you chill out a bit, you know, mellow out when you get older. Actually, that's a good question to ask. Is do artists make their most exciting work when they're younger or when they're older? I got my own answers to that. What media do you use to paint? Spray paint only? Well, not really. I use whatever I get my hands on. Whatever anybody's thrown out over the years, I've used that. If somebody's going some cheap paint going, I'll take that. And it's always nice to do potluck, because that means I go to a certain place in Swansea where people swap. Just leave paint there for other people to take freely, of course. And I've been doing that for a couple of years. It's surprising what you find down there. But yeah, so I don't just use spray. I use a lot of other material, you know, a lot of other paints, acrylics, oils, like I said, pastels, pencils. Just get my hands on. Whatever you need to express, and you take a chance, you know, take a chance with it. See what comes out. Some paint, for God's sake. How many days does it take to finish a whole painting? Well, lately it's been a lot longer, but I'm in no rush to paint things anymore, so I keep coming back. So it's all about quality these days and not quantity. Have you ever designed anything? No, not well. designed anything that's useful? Probably not. I mean, the birdhouse collapsed and killed four wrens and a robin. So, but it was, you know, that was fine. Nobody knew about it. So don't tell anybody. Uh, no, I haven't really designed. I mean, I've been involved in design. Uh, I suppose the famous one, or more known now, about 20 odd years ago, would have been the Manic Street Preachers album, Know Your Enemy, and my singles, and some promotional work. So was that design? Because all they done was use the artwork that we were supplying to them, and they come up with a concept of the look. So that's the design aspect. So I wouldn't. I mean, as for the fashion, again, the clothes was already arriving, you know, designed. Um, so I wasn't in charge of that area again, so I couldn't say I was involved in the design of it, but the artwork was involved in the design itself. So it's a nice question, it's an interesting question, you know, design, artwork, are they the same thing or not? Okay. How did you become a famous artist? Well, oh, ooh. Well, there we are, right? I got when I went, I flicked through these questions earlier on, and I thought, oh, this is a good one because I'm not famous, right? Let's get that out there. There's no way I'm famous. I mean, famous is having your name on a pair of socks, for Christ's sake. I don't see my name on anybody's socks when you go shopping, and people call me Neale, not Howells. So, two good examples, but there of famous people only having one name, and your name appearing on something, a t-shirt somewhere. I wouldn't say I'm famous at all. Oh, how do you become a famous artist? Well, okay, taking the fact that I'm not a famous artist, and how do you become one? Well, you're asking the wrong person then, aren't you? I've got my own ideas. I mean, you know, walking around naked with your name on your back wouldn't mind, you know, down Oxford Street, what's all that about? Could do that, I get them in the papers. And I think, for a lot of the time, that's what I, you know, we enjoy doing. It was about putting the work that we was doing on the front page and not have it on the back, on the middle pages. And at certain points over the years, we were successful in doing that and really annoyed a lot of people. And we got, we got a lot of attention by doing that as well. Putting it on the front, got it on the front page, and that's something which has always sort of wanted me to do. Is that how do I get art, Welsh, whatever, art on the front page? And I'd like to think we were successful doing it occasionally. I don't know if I ever got credit for it. Probably got alienated more or less with the Welsh lot. But a good example would be the Venice Biennale, where Wales was out there for the first time, and I went and I've done some TV work where we say it's outrageous that Wales have got an Irishman. It's like a joke, in Irishman, Frenchman, who was it? Irishman. Was it? Anyway, there was only two Welsh. There was four artists, two Welsh, and they didn't even live in Wales. There was four artists in all. And you know, they're all successful artists, right? Anyway, it wasn't good enough for me. They shouldn't be there. But what we done with that, we actually got so much attention from it. You've got to Kim Howells, who was Welsh, who was the Secretary of Arts and Culture to the Blair government. He was answering questions on it. Caught him out brilliant because he he didn't know the answers about why didn't Welsh artists go. He didn't know any Welsh artists at the time. Not. Anyway, we put it on YouTube. We want to say it is good. But we weren't given any credit for that. Nobody was interested in Wales being in the Venice Biennale except the artists involved. And that was my thing. A lot of the public don't care for art. Just don't care. Especially around here. I mean, it's the last thing on their minds. Do you know what I mean? So we try to make it exciting, make it interesting, make it accessible. But it's still, a lot of the artists maybe are so sort of stuck in the old way of thinking about art and not really bringing it to a new generation of people. Then, you know, and the way we thought of doing that was through controversy, you know, newspapers. it wasn't, there was a little bit of internet at the time, but nothing huge. I mean, anyway, go and Google it. It's really interesting. Right, how to become a famous artist. That was how to become a famous artist, wasn't it? We didn't do that one. How do you make art 3D? Right. Oh, by the way, you probably, a few of you just want to leave the class now. Well, are you all in, aren't you? Well, you know, don't worry. We've only got a couple more you've sent me to do, and then I'll have a break then, right? So, okay, right. Actually, I could have done some more. Right, how do you make 3D art? How do you make art 3D? Okay, well, that's another interesting one. When I went to college, I was very interested in sculpture. And for a while, I didn't know whether I was doing the right course, painting or sculpture. But then in the end, I just started nailing things to the wall. So combining my interest in ready-made objects, and then with painting on those ready-made objects, I sort of combined the both forms in a way. And that was the way I learned about art, really. I'll try and deal with that a little bit later in another question. How many paintings have you had in the gallery? Well, we've done quite well. I mean, 2012 was probably our best year, where we had 2 large exhibitions in London simultaneously in 2 large venues with 2 very big with very big works in each. Then in that year, I think we counted. I think it was 6 or 7 capital cities around the world: Quebec, we're in Milan, Paris, New York. So it was a very good year. We should have got a couple of years. Like, I wish that was every year, but it wasn't, right? So, but it came at the right point, and it sort of got us up another level, another notch on the ladder to the top of where all the art, where art is really taken seriously. How many paintings have you had in the gallery? Well, you know, we've had a few shows over the years, and I can tell you what I used to do when I was starting off, and we used to work with the Washington Gallery. I work with the John Martin Gallery now, up in London. But when I started off, I used to try and make whatever show we had contemporary and affordable. So I made sure there were small pieces in there, medium-sized pieces. Then I'd always try and go for 1 or 2 really, or 3 big pieces. So it wouldn't look more like too much like a local art show. It'd be more contemporary in its look. So that was always my, that was my aim whenever I put shows together. First of all, not overdo it, but not underdo it either. You know, and there's a trick to doing a good exhibition. You can put too many paintings in, and that was just like so. Or you can, reduce the amount of paintings and just put 2, 3 bold pieces in. Actually, like a last show up in London before lockdown in Chelsea, there was only 3, 4 paintings in this large exhibition space. Right. What is your favourite painting by another artist? I guess one of those artists. One of those artists I remember in A-level was Picasso, because I was quite naive regarding art, and I remember seeing Weeping Woman, and it was like, again, a bit like Henry Moore. How would you get from a woman to a weeping woman, the way he does it? That was I can see it now. So those are the works that stay with me. That's for painting. My most have I got a favourite painting? When I don't have a favourite painting as such. A lot of my inspiration came from film, the cinema, competing with the cinema, this is why the works are so big. Because, I want people to walk into a gallery and they see this one piece of work immediately, and it draws them in. And I feel like that's where I'm trying to compete with cinema. That's why I love cinema so much. And then so when I see something big on the screen, I want to replicate that. I want to compete with that. So I want people to come. I want people to say, "Shall we go to see the new James Bond film, or should we go to see that exhibition by Neale Howells?" No, let's go to see Neale Howells. So I want to give them their money's worth. So it's a big decision. And anyway, so the cinema Star Wars, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and then so forth, all the ones I discovered while in college then, and now, and that. But those early works when I was about 11 years old, was it Star Wars and Close Encounters when I saw them first? It's incredible on the big screen. So though it would be my favourite, as for paintings, I don't think they have. But I think there's something on the way as I go through this, I'll say. Do you plan your artwork or just create it? Funny thing is, I was thinking about this the other day. Artwork, I'm going to put lights on in there. Artwork, I remember I used to think, when I used to keep sketchbooks a lot, and I used to look at sometimes what I had done in the sketchbook and what I was doing on outside the sketchbook, and I thought the sketchbooks was more exciting. And over the years, I think that has actually happened. I work now as if I'm working in my sketchbooks on these paintings. So intuition is a lot of it now. So I just experiment with it and see how it comes out. I think what you know, a plan of the work is, yeah, I have an idea of what I want it to look like, but it's like this somewhere. What once you've done something which you've thought of, and it's basically got out of your system. So then it's like a starting point to the actual painting. Okay, it's weird, isn't it? So you've done that. You've got it out of your system. Now let's see. Let's chuck a bottle of paint in it. Let's see where we can go with it. You know. So planning something is just the start of something. It's never the end result. And that's why I like art, I suppose, because it's always surprising. I think if you knew what you was going to do or what something was going to look like at the end, to me, I would have to say, well, I don't get excited by too much for that. I would have to then draw over it, paint over it, just see what comes of it. So I would say, if it was a bit of a tip, don't let the painting own you. You've got to own the painting. So, yeah. Does your art tell a story? Did a couple of years ago. You want to see what I wrote in it then? Some people in it. And I suppose, you know, if you really wanted to spend time, a lot of it gets painted over, so you wouldn't know what it meant anyway. But how do you judge a good bit of art? Maybe how many times come back to view it. If somebody's paid a lot of money for it. But if you do come back to view it a lot of the times, give the viewer something that's seen it constantly, to see new things. And I suppose with all the writing and all that I do, there's certainly a lot of information in there. Oh, I wouldn't know how it. Fake or fortune, when they x-ray the pictures, good luck. Right. Right, that's your lot. That is your first sheet. That is your first sheet. Gone. Hope I answered that. Done and done. Big tick on that. I know you're all clapping in the class. I know you all think, God, isn't he good? Brilliant. He's answered. He's done even more than I thought he was going to do. Alright, look, I tell you what I'll do. I'll have a break there and I'll pause the machine in case I've run out of tape. So if I do, I can send you 3. Right, bring back a bit of water.